The touch of your hand makes me do it. And it's a smile on your face, and as time goes by, I know I'm in a better place. I'm in a better place.
Welcome. To put it all on red, this is Roberta the Tool Lady. I have some phenomenal women here with me tonight. I'm so excited. So if I get ahead of myself, you know why. I was just as that was playing, I was thinking about, they were talking about Kamala and Trump. Is this an epic time to be a woman? And so tonight we're just going to be celebrating womanhood, and we're going to talk about this book that we have completed, which is a big deal because again, some people never complete anything, but all of us women, it was 10 of us. Of course, our great leader, which is here, and I'm going to get you introduced to them all. But we all put it together, and it's again so raw that I bet it's gonna leave you in awe, and it's gonna bless your soul. But I'm gonna go ahead and let these ladies start to introduce themselves, and we're gonna go ahead and start with our leader, Leanne. If you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience tonight.
All right. Well, first of all, Roberta, thank you, and thank you guys for having me on the show. I am Leanne Dulce. I am the Chief Self-Love Officer and a self-care strategist at Wake Up Happy Sis. I am the editor and the coordinator of the Gumbo for Black Woman's Soul anthology. And, my passion and my mission is helping Black women live happy, healing, and fulfilling lives, and really finding out what freedom and fulfillment looks like for them. So, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Now I'm going to go to my friend Tamara. Tamara, you want to introduce yourself? You're on mute.
Good evening, everyone. I am Tamara Sidney, and I am a mental energy therapist that has done my contribution to Gumbo for the Black Woman's Soul. I am one of the authors, and my chapter is The Chameleon's Quest. And I have the opportunity to breathe life into people. Free your mind, free your body, free your soul is my motto. And this has been something to achieve right here.
Right. Thank you. Now we're going to go to Stephanie.
Hi, I'm Stephanie, and I'm here in Georgia. I am the contributing author to this beautiful anthology. Breaking the Silence, Confronting the Shadows of Abuse is my chapter. And I am a survivor, and a survivor to childhood trauma, and a witness to domestic violence coming up inside of my home. And that's what breaks me to my story of my chapter.
All right. Thank you, Stephanie. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring Miss Savannah.
Aloha from the sands of Maui, Hawaii. Hi, ladies and gents. My name is Aviella. I am a purpose-driven wealth creator. I like to help creatives and free spirits kind of align their wealth creation with purpose. I have 2 chapters in the anthology Gumbo for the Black Woman's Soul. The first one is called Why Settle? Because you don't have to. And the other is called Solace to Security. A little about me. I am an adult who's been aged out of foster care. So I definitely consider myself a free spirit. And I'm so happy and grateful to have the opportunity to finally speak on some aspects of my story to share with all of you. Thanks for having me, Miss Roberta.
Thank you. Whew. I tell you what, these ladies, I always just take my breath. As I was reading this book, I was like, as I'm listening to you guys, I'm like, so I'm hoping that you're feeling this as our audience is feeling this as well. This energy these ladies are bringing to the table. Now, my last one I'm going to introduce, which is the same young lady that visited me last night on the other show, Taboo Chronicles. And if you want to know what happened there, you got to go look at it. But she's here tonight, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
You talking about me?
Yes, you.
I finally got in here. My name's Elaine Tatum, and it's good to see everyone again. And it's been a pleasure just being on this show and talking about the beauty of living with the sisters that have contributed to the Black woman's soul, the gumbo for the Black woman's soul. Um, Anyone that's watching this show right now, put in your order because it's well worth it.
Yeah, yeah, yes. I'm excited. I am absolutely excited. Now, this was an anthology, and we all poured a little bit inside of it, each story of our own. And as these ladies have shared with you their part. Now, this time we're going to go around and we're going to talk about some of the things that, well, for Leanne, I want to know, how did you come up with this vision? Because Leanne, I love leadership. I actually like management as well. I'm gonna be honest about it. And what she did, she generated a sisterhood among us all. And I love that because, to be honest, this is my second anthology, but this is my first one that I felt this sisterhood with. And so it just really made me really feel really a part of it. Is like my story is sort of interwoven with everybody, and it also made it feel like, wow, I would do whatever I could for these women. And that's how it left me feeling when I left the table after we completed it. So now I'm gonna let Leanne tell us, and how did this come about?
You know, this honestly was not even something I was looking to do. This was a project that I was challenged with by my mentor, um, because he knows all about my vision and my business and what I'm trying to do. And when I started down this path, my number one goal was to build a sisterhood. I've been involved in anthologies, and typically you go, you contribute your chapter, you don't hear anything until the books are ready, and then you never hear from them again. I did not want to build just an ordinary anthology. What I'm building is a community. What I'm building is a movement of support of Black women supporting other Black women. We can't continue to live in the silence, in the shadows of our trauma, of our fear, of our guilt, of all the things that are weighing us down. We are so much more than the trauma that we have been through. And it was my goal to make sure that every author felt a full part of this process. So we did, we've been on this process in this journey for months because I wanted to build them into a community, into a sisterhood. So just like you said, Roberta, so that they feel like they are, that you would do anything for these women, that we are all sisters in this. They have my phone number, they can call me, they can text me, right? I wanted to make sure that what we were building was something so much bigger than a book. When you read these stories, your life will be changed. There's no way that it can't be. You're going to see yourself reflected in one or maybe even across multiple stories. Um, and so, what we're building is a bridgeway for women that may still be in that struggle, that may be still experiencing the trauma, and they're trying to figure out, how do I get past this point in my life? How do I get to that triumph? How do I get to that happy on the other side?
Right. Oh, I absolutely love it. Now, I'm going to give the authors an opportunity to bring forth one thing that you brought forth in your story, and then one thing that you overcame as you brought forth in your story. Because what I realized when I was writing my part, I realized, wow, so you have went from here to here and you've grown. And I just realized that within, and I was thinking, wow, you have really grown a whole lot. It's because sometimes life be life, and you don't realize how fast things are going and where you're at in your healing. So I'm gonna start because I know everybody is so interesting. I'm gonna start with Tamara. I'm gonna go ahead and go in order. Everybody's on the
Yes. So something that I brought forth in the story, again, my chapter is the Chameleon Quest, is how I became a chameleon in this life. Um, at a young age, I was initially programmed to be who I'm not. And at a young age, I felt it within me to be this person that no matter what anybody said or did to me, um, I was going to fight for who I am. And through the book, you'll see the first instance of that happening. But speaking on how I overcame it or where it has gotten me, is that I now live in Jamaica. And when I first decided to go over there, I had so many naysayers, so many people that wanted to tell me what was best for me. Between the danger, and my rebuttal was, I lived in Detroit and Atlanta. It can't be much worse in Jamaica. Then it was, taking care of yourself and what are you going to do? During COVID, me and my ex husband did 65,000 miles. We rode from one side of the Americas to the other side of the Americas. We drove and we were out sometimes in the woods, sometimes no cell, sometimes all of that. But at the end of the day, I'm saying that I am a survivor of my own will. And I like to let people know that when you listen to your purpose and your own intuition, you can't be influenced by others' insecurity of being who they are,
Mhm.
which initiated the brand I Am Tam. Um, I sealed that. And I even had a logo made. I put the logo on my back, right here for me to always speak my truth and never lose sight of that. And I like that during this book, and even with Lee Ann, she kept it real the whole time. And we were able to speak our truth. And to be honest with you, I've always been looking for a tribe of truthers.
Mhm.
Um, so this has basically, this was a catalyst into me into the rest of my life,
yes,
and that's what it was.
Absolutely.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you. And I really like that because a lot of times we are told what we're going to be and not actually we don't get to discover who we really are inside, and sometimes we get lost. We
Mhm.
get lost and then we try to simulate with everybody else and we still feel uncomfortable, because
Mhm.
we're only simulating, we're only the chameleon. And so I like that, uh the purpose. I
Okay.
love that. uh Now, Stephanie, how about you?
Um, for me, if what I can say that I brought to it is being transparent with my own trauma, and showing others like myself, not somebody that's famous like the Oprah stories and all the R. Kelly stories that we hear out there. We see people like them getting justice. But reading my story, I'm just like you out there who have been through any type of trauma dealing with sexual violence, domestic violence, being told that we have to be silent and never getting justice. Reading my story, it starts out telling how I had been traumatized, all the trauma that I'd been through, but then going to the end, seeing the triumph, the victor that I became in the end, that justice is out there once we break our silence. We have been told to be quiet so many times in our communities. And many of us breaking this curse that has been in our families for traditions, with the saying, what goes on in a home stays in a home. What goes on in the house stays in the house, meaning in the family as well. No matter, the house covers the whole family sometimes. So you grow up and you repeat that same factor in your life. And that repeated factor is you never go out and tell anybody, but you're being labeled as being angry, and you're the loud female that's always so boisterous about anything that you do. But them not knowing your story, that there was a point of time you had to be silent. I had to be silent when I was a little girl. I had to be silent until I was 15 years old. And by the time I was 15, I was screaming and yelling what had happened to me in the state of South Carolina, but I still yet was being silenced. And it's even worse when you are silent through
Yes.
the system. I was no longer being silenced because through the family dealing with the trauma that I've been through, but now I'm being silenced through the system, and the system silencing me by not putting my perpetrator in handcuffs, instead put me in handcuffs because I wouldn't stay in the foster homes that I saw abuse going on. So I basically got pushed through the states and through the state system, not being a victim, but like I was just a problem child. And I just wanted to be an open book to as much as I could put into such a chapter, even dealing with injustice in my adult life and becoming a victim there. Excuse me. And then bringing a light to it that I did get justice in the end. And it's like being in the light with these ladies, even though I knew that I wasn't the only one out there, to actually to be a part of this anthology, to share my story. And before we even got started, to hear just a small script of what everybody had been through, it made me feel good as I pushed through, that we were all coming together as a whole to put our stories out there. And that's what I bring to it. And what I got out of it is, no matter what, keep pushing. Even when I had my days that I wanted to shut down, because I deal with anxiety, I deal with depression. I don't tell nobody, but I deal with depression and everything. But silently, I deal with it because I pray about it. I'm not dealing with it like in a silent way, but I deal with it in a silent way, as in I pray and I do spiritual music that helps me get through my depression. But my meds help me with my anxiety. But the times that I wanted to back out, I thank Leanne that she stood 10 toes down with us. The days that I would be absent, I have other things going on around me, but as a whole, I still yet had to relive a lot that I was going through in order to put them into words, and to know that it was going to be read and received, not just by the people that needed to hear it, but those family members that were going to be nosy on the end to know what I was pouring into it. Once I released that, I was writing, because they know my story, but they have been hiding and discarding my story. But I just want to say that that's what I bring to it, and that's what I expect others to get out of it, is that it's okay to break your silence and not worry about what anybody has to say, because you breaking your silence is for your peace, not theirs.
Certainly, discovering your voice. You have a voice. You have a voice. And I think about it, and I know we have two more. Um, and I think about, you said the foster care, and I was looking it up. I was thinking about the Invisible Boy. I don't know if you guys have read it, but it's talking about a little boy that was in foster care as well, and how he just felt invisible, and some of the things that he went through, which was traumatic experience. And but it was like he wasn't there, and
Mhm.
so it's sad to have to live like that. And like you said, to have a system that, and not even this little boy, I'm sure he was a white boy, I'm just going to say it frankly, but not to be a black baby or a black boy, black girl, a black woman, because usually we don't really get a voice at all, and in different systems, because that's what they are, systems. um, so I really appreciate that, and also the transparent. I said it over and over last night. This book is probably going to be the rawest book that you get as far as an anthology, or as far as someone telling you a story. It's going to be because it's actually coming from our souls. So it's going to be pretty. When I was reading it, it really did. I was like, wow, okay, wow. And so it's going to leave you in awe, because it's a part of someone's story and their soul, and they're pouring it out. And again, as all of the other sisters have already mentioned, it's kind of to give you a hand up. We want to grab your hand and bring you up, to let you know you're not the only one. You are not the only one, regardless of what situation it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and go to Avelia.
Yes, aloha again. So I believe you asked, what did I bring to the book and what did I take from it?
Yeah.
So I represent one of those kids that disappeared out of the seventh grade classroom, never to be seen again. How many of you have ever been in school, whether it's elementary, high school, middle school, whatever, even college, and you have your classmates and all of a sudden one of them disappears and you like legit never see them again? Like, what happened to them?
Exactly.
Some
Mhm.
people notice, some people really don't. But
Mhm.
I brought a story to bring voice to one of those students who disappeared, which is me, as I was extracted from my classroom and thrown into a mental institution and ultimately into foster care and other places, against my will and without the protection, of my mother. So my story, um, if I were to try to sum it up quickly, is about going from, trial to triumph and just being an individual not as scared to dream about a new reality, then go about the business of designing the reality so that you can do the things that bring that reality to you. So mine, um, one of the things that focus on is going from one state of mind to a more positive state of mind without spilling all of the beans. So that's something I bring to it, and the importance of continuous education and how that impacted me and my ultimate results.
Mhm.
Something that I got out of it, I got a lot of things out of it. Um, First of all, attitude reflects leadership.
Mhm.
Miss Leanne Dose was our leader. One thing I got out of it, first and foremost, was a reality check, because I must have thought that I was healed, but I wasn't. I had covered and buried some things. I never healed some things. And
Mhm.
so Leanne, first of all, very gently brought that to my attention, because in the beginning I was like, girl, I'm already happy, sis, and I am. But suppression was my one of my defense mechanisms, right? Um, I think, I'm sure another thing that I got out of the book is Leanne made it her business and my business to move my focus from the negative to the positive outcomes.
Hmm.
And huge, being able to reframe a situation in a way that empowers you and not beats you down more, that gives you purpose over the pain so that it makes sense. She gave me a why. People needed to hear the story about, the foster care student that didn't fall victim to the statistics. Like I've shared with ladies before, if you look up statistics, 40% of adults who age out of foster care, they're going to end up homeless, in prison, or dead. I didn't want none of those. And one of my big things in the story is when I hit that first trip to the mental institution, first thing they did was try to get me on some meds, and I refused. I was only 11, 12 years old. I refused to take the medicine. That caused consequences, though. Like I got jumped on by, grown 6 feet men and restrained and put on into a observation unit with my hands strapped down. They used to call it a straitjacket. I'm 11 years old. Why do I have a straitjacket on? Injecting me. I wasn't going to readily take these pills. So they decided to get a syringe and push it down my buttock to where I passed out and woke up sometime later. And the crazy thing about that, when those things happen, a lot of stuff can happen when you're unconscious. But that's another story. So what I got of it is an opportunity to face myself, the part of myself that I was embarrassed by, that I was ashamed of, and I got to feel that and look at that feeling of that I had of a motherless child, because I remember feeling like that and singing the song. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child, a long way from home, a
Ooh.
long ways from home. But I found a home with my girls, my queens.
Man.
People can sing.
So now you have family.
I got family and truth sayers, people you can trust with your story.
That's right. Well, child, don't make me cry. Don't make me cry, child. Um, because my story also is abandonment and some domestic violence as well. And I had to learn how to cope. I have worked in some of those hospitals that you're speaking of on the behavior world with young ladies. Um, so not only have I had to deal with my own trauma, I have been that's my career is was well it was my career was working with individuals in mental health. But what I really applaud you ladies for, before I and Miss Elaine, I have not forgot about you. So, but what I really applaud you ladies before we go forward is identifying the need for mental health, identifying the need for mental health, and being kind to yourself, being kind to yourself, and going through a process of being kind to yourself. So I applaud all of my sisters for that, because that's what I hear. Now, Miss Elaine, you're going to join us tonight.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
All
Um,
right.
I read the book over and over, and each story filled me with tears. But my story was I grew up where children are supposed to be heard, seen, and not heard. And I was battling the whole way. I didn't know how to keep my mouth shut. And I didn't think that opportunity was only for the Caucasians and other people. I thought that anyone can have what they want. And my dreams, visions, and the visions that became reality that they didn't want to hear made me a troublesome child in the household. So the only way they knew back then, but parents are amateurs too. They don't really know what they're doing, and they were doing the best they could, and they thought that beating it out of me was the answer, and telling me I was stupid and never going to be nothing. And as a child, you keep hearing that, you get brainwashed into that. And I became depression prone, and I said, well, if I can't do that, I can get high. So if I wasn't fighting all the time and telling everybody off, or if I wasn't just making noise and getting a spanking, I went from that to doing drugs for many, many years and self sabotaging my life. I'm talking about the people that were the living dead, not realizing I was one of them, but it came to a place where I don't care what was happening to me. It just was not what I saw for me. It was not the person that I knew I was. And no matter what nobody said, I just had to keep coming back to myself. So you hear often a man will fall 7 or 8 times and get back up. Every time I did knock my own self down by allowing certain things to happen to me that I knew were wrong, I when I got back up, everybody was surprised. They didn't think I had enough sense to think of how to get out. They thought I was stuck there. And then I finally, when I met Leanne on that invitation, I said, "It's time. It is time." I had been trying to write this for 30 years, and I just got tired. I said, "Somebody has to hear it." And when I heard the ladies that were speaking, when we had our first few meetings, I knew that this group was going to be an authentic group of truth sayers, people that were driven to break free, people that were honest and living with integrity and no fear. And that's where I wanted to be. So that just encouraged me to go even further and to start doing self help things again, and just pushing my way through. And when I heard the girls sometimes talk about different things that were bothering them in the meetings, I realized I could do this because we can do this. And that's what I stood on. I stood on being a sister to my sister, which would help me be real, even more real than I already felt I had it in me to give. And so this is where I'm at now. I'm at a place where I just feel like can't nothing stop me. There used to be a song for all the way back in the day. They call "Ain't No Stopping Us Now."
Yeah.
We're on the move, and that's the way I see it. And this thing is going to go much further than we thought. Just an anthology. It's going to be like a domino effect. I feel it. I see it. Where lives are going to be changed well after we're gone. And I just can't wait to just keep this moving at this momentum we're at right now. Um, I'm learning every day, realizing that trials and tribulations are every day. That every day is a test, and that it's up to you. You have the choice. You're the master of your fate. You are the one. So I stand on that, and I've learned that, and now nobody can talk me out of it. I don't care who you are.
Yes.
I love it.
Now, this is so much power here, honey. We're going to knock some energy deals out tonight. I'm surprised this computer ain't shutting off. But now I'm going to go back to Leanne because, even though this was a test, you had to tell your mentor somewhere that this was a desire. And I also believe that when we have certain desires, somehow those desires find us. right?
Well, yes, I'm definitely. So, yes, love the book. So, one of the things, before I answer your question, one of the things, we have two different options with the anthology. So, what you saw Stephanie hold up was the standard edition. What you saw Aviela hold up is a cover, is the custom cover. So, every author that was in this first inaugural anthology for Gumbo for the Black Woman Soul has a custom cover that showcases their beauty and really puts them on center stage. The interior of the book is the same. It's the same book, but I wanted the authors to really have something to where it felt like their book. This whole process was about this process was really about putting ownership in their hands, right? When you're a part of an anthology, it can feel really easy to get lost in the shuffle. I'm just a chapter in. I never wanted that for anybody. The whole time that anybody author can tell you, I always told them, this is our book. This is not my book. This is not my book. This is our book. This was something that was put upon my heart and on my spirit to do, um, because I wanted to create community. I'm all about healing our community. And so are the 10 amazing women that are part of this anthology. They, even though we all through this process have gone through our own trials and tribulations, and that includes me too, right? That didn't stop us from coming back together every week. These women met every week from March to August, every single week from March to August to bring this to fruition. Now, I could have done it in a weekend, but we would have lost all of this sisterhood. And it was so important for me to build that. So, yes, now when I go back and I talk to my mentor, I definitely had to let him know that even though this was a challenge, this was my first time doing anthology. I just, they signed on to be my little guinea pigs. But I told him this was probably the best thing that could have happened to me at this time in my life, because it showed me that, helped me solidify my purpose, my direction, right? It helped me see and even just solidify for me what my mission is. And my mission is to help 1 million Black women find out what freedom and fulfillment means to them. And this is one of the ways. We've got to let go of the pain. We got to let go of the hurt. We've got to give ourselves grace. And we got to realize that the things that happen to us are not our fault. They are not our fault. But we have to heal. Healing is our fault. The trauma that's left with us is not our fault, but healing ourselves and taking that healing journey is 100% our responsibility. And these women have shown up and they've shown out throughout this anthology process for each other and for me as well.
And I love that we were reminded over and over that healing was a process, because it is.
Yeah.
You know, as Avila said that she had to be reminded, wait a minute, I thought I was behind, that was behind me, but I'm healing. So you do have to take it on as it's a process, and it takes time, and healing continues. Because sometimes you may have a good day, sometimes you may have a trigger, you may have a stressor come about, you may even hear something that reminded you of that trauma. So it's a continuing thing, but the more and more we become aware of it, the more and more we have better coping skills to go and navigate through it. Now, I want to ask, and just tell me one thing that that was a aha moment for you while you were writing your piece of your book. One time that was just a aha, this is it. Because I know we all wrote rough drafts, and then we all got it back. Then we like, oh, we don't like that. Let's try again. What was an aha moment for you?
Who do you want to start with?
I'm sorry, you're right. I want to start with Tara.
Woo. Okay. So just a little bit of context, and then you understand. When I was like preparing for this anthology, I was also producing my first stage show, um, where I had to take care of everything. I had to get, the other people that were going to speak. I had to get the MC, the DJ, the cameraman. Like I was going through all of that and also writing my part of the show because of course I'm the headliner. So as she's given us the topic and it's fighting through and building through, I'm also doing a show of convoluted conversation. And the convoluted conversation is about we don't talk about how we came into this world and got to be who we are. Also, in the anthology, I'm writing about a very kindergarten childhood trauma that is happening. So, as I'm writing one and I'm writing the other, um, the and also going through trying to prepare all of this, and people telling me that the place I'm getting is too big because it was the historical lyric theater in Lexington, Kentucky. I seen you ask where we're from. So that was the historical theater in Lexington, Kentucky. I did that show um, in my hometown. And I'm also writing about something that, of course, happened in my hometown. I'm still getting people telling me that, you're incapable of doing that while I'm writing a story about my first instance of really getting an understanding of how detrimental to myself and who I am of you can't do that. So, excuse my words, but the aha moment was I got all of this shit down and nobody's ever going to tell me what I'm going to do from now on. Wherever I want to be, whatever I want to do, I don't care if I want to sit on the corner and hold a sign. I'm going to do it. And the triumph from the show, the triumph from this book, you can't tell me nothing else.
All
You
right.
can't tell me nothing else. Man, I gonna do it. Man, I gonna do it.
I
I
love it.
love it. I love
I
it. I
love
love
it.
I love it.
Me
Now,
too.
Elaine, you want to tell us your aha moment?
Who, me?
Yes, Miss Elaine.
I had a whole bunch of aha moments, but I didn't move on any of them until I just made up my mind. This time, I just knew the timing was correct. But my aha moment was the last relationship I was in when I realized that I've been going in full circle with this madness for 50 years.
Hmm.
Yeah, and even though I learned things and I would put boundaries on certain things, I still was letting other things happen because I guess, most people would say you're weak or you're gullible or you just didn't know any better or whatever the case may be. But mine was the need for love. And I realized that I couldn't even love anybody correct if I didn't love myself. So this is the place to start.
I love it.
I've always been transparent. I ain't been scared to tell my age. I ain't been scared to tell nobody, yeah, I did that. Because shoot, I don't do things by accident. I did everything because I wanted to, So
I love it.
I don't owe nobody nothing. It just was the right time.
Thank you. All right. Now, Avelia, are you're gonna tell us when your aha?
Absolutely. So my aha moment was that I actually needed to take the time to forgive myself
Hmm.
for the actions
Hmm.
that I have taken. Um,
Hmm.
and forgive myself. One of the biggest things was for not becoming a mom because I was so afraid, one, that I didn't have the resource to protect a child of mine, the same as my mother didn't have the resource to protect me. Two, that because I went in the system, they have this thing called institutionalized. It's not
Mhm.
just prison based, it's a state of mind, right? So
Yeah.
I thought that I would be 100% capable of putting my next generation through the same system from which I came. And I had to forgive myself because oftentimes the things
Mhm.
the things that we do that we regret the most are often the things that we had to do to keep ourselves safe, right? And I
Yes.
Mhm.
just couldn't imagine because, as I said earlier, with those statistics, ended up homeless or in prison or dead, and that's within 3 years of aging out of foster care. You know what? I was homeless, and I did see the inside of a jail more than once, but I wasn't gonna die, so I had to change it up. I'm very creative. I'm a creative personality type.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I did what I needed to do to bob and weave and get myself, to a place where I was safe. So I didn't realize until I was writing this story. Meanwhile, also having come in contact with my father who left me, who denied me, who prevented me, who's the one who pretty much sealed that I was never getting out of that place, right?
Mhm.
I had to forgive him too because of
Absolutely.
my distrust in males or father figures. I just thought, who, how could I set up a child to have a father who could turn away from them so easily, even to the detriment of their whole life? So I think that was a huge aha moment for me because I often just joked about it and kind of was like, I gave other excuses why, but the real reason why is I was scared that I would lose control, lose my child, and create a bitter creature that may or may not be able to rise above it in the same way that I did.
So self forgiveness. I love that.
Yep. And you know what else? I told him that like I've never experienced women that are not trying to set you up to fail, to
Mhm.
get hurt, to be raped, to be all these things.
Right.
Particularly black women, because I don't ride like that with
Mhm.
people, So that was there are black women that will accept me as I am, and they actually like me too.
Yeah, we love you.
Yes,
That's
we
true.
We
Actually,
love you, girl.
that's
Oh,
right. Actually, we love you.
honey, honey.
All right.
Just like you are.
Thank you.
That's real though. I didn't know.
That's right. Thank you so much. And it's the truth because usually, we're notorious for the side eye, right? Uh,
Mhm.
just being black women, we're notorious for you walk into the room, and we're notorious for the side eye, the cold shoulder, and it's basically made off of what I think Tamara already said it, where we've already been, our experiences, and we're reflecting it on other people. And we don't take it like that, but we do. That's what we do. And we do have to stop that because we need each other. We need each other.
Mhm.
Stephanie, now you, Miss Stephanie.
I um I can say my aha moment came when I got introduced to this project. My mother has 7 kids, but I'm an only child to my daddy. Therefore, I was in the middle of being pulled every which way but loose. I'm like, even though I've dealt with so much trauma, I've made myself that protector of everybody, that go-to person for everybody. I'm the strength even when I'm broken. I'm still the strength for everybody. So at the time that this was introduced to me, I was I still am. I go back and forth between states with my daddy. He's dealing with two illness and a wife that has Alzheimer's and dementia, dealing with a blended family. So it was just chaos. And I've been a speaker about my story for the past 10 years. I've been to the Capitol to speak, South Carolina, Georgia. I've been on military installations to speak. I've been all the way to the Senate in Washington, D.C., before the Capitol there and before the Senate there to speak. And at such a time as this, we're going in now with our election, dealing with women's rights. So speaking is one thing, but I can say that my aha moment was, out of all the years that I have been speaking, to actually give Leanne a rough draft of my story and then to have it returned back to me, edited in such a way that it is worthy to actually go on a page in a chapter inside of a book that will be placed in other women's hands, other ladies' hands, other girls' hands at around the nation, I would say, to hear my story in such a way being told through the words on pages. That was an aha moment for me that I will forever take to my heart, because reading it myself when I did the proofreading, even though it was me, I read it in second person. And I sat in tears on my bed as I read it. And I found myself every now and then going back to it. It was that much of an aha moment to me that I found myself going back to it, rereading it over and over again. And that was powerful.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. And you know what, Stephanie, I don't know if we share kind of the same commonalities, but I'm kind of reserved, believe it or not. And I don't have a lot of creative edge like my sister Bella and my sister Leanne. But I
Mhm.
really love being a part of this because you guys let me use some of my creative energy somewhere. I had to drag it from somewhere, but you guys let me do it and be a part of this awesome movement. And so I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you ladies hanging out with me tonight. I knew 55 minutes was going to go like this, but what I do want to know before we leave out, if each of you can leave my audience one tip and just how to reach you, how to contact you, where to follow you at, social media, where can they reach you at? Where can you be reached at? So we'll start with Miss Leanne and then we'll go across again.
All right. Well, thank you so much for having us on. If I can leave your audience with one thing, it's realize that you are so much more than the trauma that you are left with, than the pain that you are living through, than the hurt that you go through daily sometimes. You are so much more than that. And your story deserves to be heard. Your trauma, your triumph. You can connect with me on any platform on Wake Up Happy Sis. Just look up Wake Up Happy Sis. You will find this beautiful black bald head. And you can head on over to thegumboanthology.com and you can learn more about all of us. All 10 of the authors, our foreword, that was written by Dr. Evelyn Bethune, and even a little bit about myself. So head on over. Every author sells copies. So make sure that you hit up one of us and you buy this book and buy it for someone else, not just for yourself. Every woman, every black woman needs to read this book.
Yes. Yes. Some freedom. Some freedom.
Yes.
And some weight off the shoulders. Definitely. All right, Stephanie, you want to tell everyone how to follow you or how they can contact you? One
Yes.
thing.
You can follow me. You can find me at hashtag I am no longer silent altogether. Hashtag I am no longer silent. You can follow me on Twitter at Stephanie Walker, Facebook, two accounts. I am no longer Silent Walker and Stephanie Walker, YouTube Stephanie Walker as well. And if I could leave a message to all of you out there, um, don't be afraid to break your silence. If you feel as though you are in such a way that you are on that urge of really to speak out, it doesn't matter how old you was when it happened. It doesn't matter if it happened yesterday and you're 45, if you're 45 today, 50, 60, 70, it doesn't matter. And it happened when you was 5, 6, 7, 8. It is breaking your silence so that you can be free. Don't be afraid to speak out. If you want to reach out to me to talk to me about it before you break your silence, we want to speak to me to just find out how I went about coping with mine to break my silence, you can reach out to me and talk to me there as well. Thank you.
All right. Beautiful Villa.
Yes, aloha queen. So my name is Aviela Aloha. You can Google that to find out about my creative pursuits. If I could leave you with anything, it would be remember that each of us needs all of us. If it wasn't for Leanne being in the place that she was to be challenged to take on this task, and then her moving forward in faith with action, which attracted like energy, like myself and all the other queens here, then we wouldn't have had the opportunity to share our stories, and we wouldn't have the opportunity to self heal or at least get on the path of that, and we wouldn't have had the opportunity to meet each other. We all have our own spiritual gifts, we all have our own innate gifts. And so, my thing would be just align your gifts with your purpose, and that attract when you do that, that attracts abundance. That's what a purpose driven wealth creator is. And if you want to know what your purpose driven wealth persona is, just go www.startthequiz.com, take a little 2-minute quiz, and again Google me, Aviela Aloha, and that'll connect you to all the things. And one other thing, as a purpose driven wealth creator, my custom cover, when you purchase this particular one at aviela-aloha.com, I donate a percentage of the sales to the Moving Day Mafia, and they basically help students that have aged out of foster care move into their college dorm rooms, and then they help to support them for the first year of college. So by all means, if you want to order some of these, you got a book club, whatever, order 10, 15, 30, 50, whatever, and a percentage of that will be going to um, Moving Day Mafia. I'm Aviela Aloha. Peace.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Aviala. Aloha.
Beautiful.
All right. Now, my sister Tam.
All right, I am Tam. You can reach me on any platform with I said, that's EYE. I did put it in the chat for you guys. EYE said I am Tam, because it's coming from a spiritual place. Or you can
Mm-hmm.
also find me at Nerdy, NURDY Thug Entertainment. And I use that semblance because we're all from somewhere. No matter where you start at, I'm still a brainiac and I can still be able to bring things to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want to leave you guys with. You write your own story. You are the only one that can say who you are. No matter what happened from where I'm at 10:05 and back, you are the only one that can continue into who you are. And please don't let the naysayers um, tell you that things should be forgiven because it's on your time. Please don't let the naysayers tell you that your dreams are too big because that's on your shoulders. And please don't let nobody tell you where you need to walk because that's on your back. Love you
Yeah.
guys.
Wow. Yeah. Now, what's the name?
Oh, well, um, I have a YouTube channel that's under construction. You can find me on Facebook under Myers Meyers Elaine. You can see me on Instagram under KRozFX. Those are my grandchildren's initials. KRAZ
All right.
FX. My message is each one reach one. We're trying to bring our sisters together, which is an awesome thing. But I want us to try to give these books to the young ladies that are going where we've come from. We got to protect them because they don't know how to protect themselves. And it's up to us. And then the only way we can do that is to be authentic and real with them. So I believe, and I want us to continue to let them know that you are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. We are the sum total of what we believe. It's up to you.
All right. Well, that concludes our night. Put it all on red. I really appreciate everyone for showing up tonight. I really appreciate our audience. You everybody said how you get with them. You can also follow me on all social media. Love you all. Love you all of my beautiful sisters. And good night.
Night. Stay safe, y'all.
There's a sparkle in your eyes.